it's Sandy McManus with needsaribbon.com, and I am coming to you late this Wednesday. It's another typical Sandy day. I had multiple appointments today, and my last one was at 4 o'clock and ran till after 5 and across town, and you know how that goes. So I do apologize that I didn't hit my normal Wednesday 5 o'clock time, but I do appreciate, hey, wow, faces already. That is cool. Hey. So yeah, I am sorry I am late, but I do have some cool things to share. Today we're going to do faux leather. This is me going back in time in old techniques, and this is a technique that I learned early on. I think it was before I was even a demonstrator. Back then we did it with fun foam. Today I'm going to do it with paper. So let's get started, and I can do all the announcements and all that garbly-gook later, just to get digging in. So faux leather. I have a handout, well, I can't really hand them out, can I? That's kind of funny. I have a sheet, an instructional sheet and supply sheet for the faux leather. So the things you're going to need are Big Shot and some embossing folders and some cardstock and some coordinating inks. And I kind of played around with this idea and came up with, honestly, when I was looking at leather, this is how crazy it is. I cracked up, but I kind of want it. I saw a lemon lime twist leather couch, real leather, dyed to lemon lime twist. And it was kind of cool looking. I won't get it, but in looking at, kind of samples of leather, I went with the more traditional looking colors, the beiges, the fine Corinthian Cordoba or whatever it is, leather, the tans and stuff like that. I could not find in our current colors a really good kind of that traditional orangey tan. I'm sure someone probably has, or maybe you creative people can, but let me show you what I've got. That one needs to be last. That one needs to be second to the last. These are all in the reverse order. Okay, so fine. I'll flip my stack over. So the first one I have is using our new tin tile high def or deep definition. I have to look at the sheet. Dynamic textured impressions embossing folder. The ones that are super thick that you only use one of your cutting pads on the Big Shot. And this is a product that is available September 5th when the holiday catalog goes live. So you're getting a sneak peek of it. So this is early Espresso cardstock, and this side has Suede ink on it. And I know you really can't see it, but it does kind of give a little definition. And I'm going to go into some other tips. Here it is with the early Espresso and early Espresso. So more tone on tone almost. And then now I'm getting all confused as to where I am. And here's the thing, this is not a two-sided image. One side is more raised and one side's more debased or recessed image. So, wow, I'm still getting this messed up. I am, look at that, wow. So that's the Espressos. Okay, so moving on. So I did my version of the Cordoban. Rory, are you listening? What? What's the red leather color? Cordoban? Cordoban. It's been a long day, people. Oh my goodness. It's been a long week. Yeah. So I did it with cherry cobbler cardstock, and this is with cherry cobbler ink, and you can kind of see that actually is pretty traditional looking. I was kind of surprised that the cherry and cherry created, that more, and then here it is with the early Espresso. I really don't like that one, but I thought that's kind of how it looks when you see those cut in leather, but it didn't, once you started mixing inks, it didn't turn out as good. Okay, moving on. and I'll go over the folders and stuff. Here's the Cajun Craze ink and cardstock. Here is the raised kind of image, or the actually relief, depends on if you're talking the leaves or the background. And then here is Cajun and Cajun. Okay, moving on. I have to look at my sticky notes because I made so many and I can't remember what I used. Cajun Craze cardstock with Espresso ink. Kind of looks like a hot mess probably on camera, but it's kind of cool in person. And then I did it on the back side too, I guess. It was not my favorite color combo. So here's Cajun with Espresso, and here's Cajun with Cajun. So you can kind of see, kind of depends on what you're going for. Again, looking at images of leather, it kind of varied. Now here we have Sahara Sand cardstock and ink, and I did both sides because, and I didn't do the whole thing so you could see what it looks like without the inking. And I'm going to show you how in a minute of how to do this. So actually kind of pretty in person. I don't know if it's picking up well on camera. Then I used our new subtle embossing folder. This is one of the dynamic embossing folders, and I'm trying to see if this is showing up. It creates kind of it creates a textured cardstock, but to me it looks like the texture of some of like the mid-grain leather. You know how it has that textured look, and I smeared just a little bit of Sahara Sand over it. And here it is. Yeah. So that was one thought. Now we have soft suede and early espresso, and this is another one of those dynamic embossing folders that are super thick, and it creates deeper and not as deep images. I don't like the way this one turned out. It turned out a little smudgy, I think, but honestly, if you look at a belt or a purse or whatever, sometimes they are kind of smudgy depending on the ink. So that one is with soft suede and espresso, and this one is soft suede. I'll turn it this way you can see it better. So the soft suede and soft suede ink, I like that one better. So, but it depends on what you're looking at. So I just felt I had a little more control when I did that one. Then I did early espresso ink and paper and ink, and you probably can't see it a whole lot, but I'll tell you what it looks like in person, and that's going to be a technique that I'll talk about in a minute. It gives it a little polish and a little shine to that cardstock, so you get that more finished leather look. So I wasn't completely nuts for doing that. It just is, again, probably not my favorite of all these that I've done. I did a lot, like I said. This is Smoky Slate cardstock and ink. And I didn't pick any other inks to go with the Smoky Slate. Anything else just seemed too overpowering. And again, on my list, I have them all that I've done. I think I captured them all. Oh yeah, so this, and it's probably not going to pick up very well on camera, but this is black cardstock run through with the new subtle embossing folder, so it does look like kind of that mid to top grain leather. I rubbed it with early espresso ink. I did not use our black ink because our black ink is not our traditional water soluble ink. We either have Memento or we have the Stays On. So neither one of them would really work. So you get kind of a blackish brown almost, but what it does also is give a little polish and a little finish to that cardstock. So it really does, in person anyway, look like leather. And then I creased it and put my little rivets, as I call them, so it looks, you know, like the riveted leather. So that was that one. Moving on, where am I? I have a lot here. Okay, I'm going to talk about that one in a minute. This one. So this is vanilla. Same would go for white in this. This is just vanilla, very vanilla cardstock. And I sponged. This is our basket weave dynamic embossing folder. So this is where the basket weave stands out. And this was a really interesting experiment. It looks kind of messy and dirty, really, you know, not super pretty. And that's with Sahara sand ink that I used. But you flip it over, and isn't that cool? In person anyway, it's almost like an optical illusion. The basket is actually recessed, but by rubbing ink over that, it makes it pop up and gives it kind of gives it what I thought this would do. So it's really kind of a cool thing. So if you use this, you have to use the flip side of what you'd think. So that was an interesting little learning experience. I still have a few more. I'm trying to decide which one. So, oh, yes. So our new Tufted dynamic impression folder, which came out in the annual catalog this summer. I learned, because it is such a deep impression and it does leave these raised images, when you rub it with the sponge, it flattens out a bit. So here's where it wasn't rubbed, here's where it was rubbed, and I don't know if you can kind of see that. It flattens out. But I thought, okay, so, and I will talk about how I got this. Again, it's really hard to pick some of this stuff up on the camera, but that's my version of one of my dream couches. My other dream couch is coming up. So I did white, and I tried to use the smoky slate to kind of put the little creases to give it more dimension. I don't know what would happen if I flipped it over to do that, but it just, hot mess. So that half, hot mess. This half, all I did was use the sponge, and I'm going to talk about how to do that in a minute. And then tufted. The reason I adore this, my dream, is to have a white tufted leather couch in either a mid-century modern style or a Chesterfield style. I'm still rooting for one. I've got a couple in mind. That is still my dream, is a white tufted leather couch. So I was all over this one. Okay. So then we have, was this one? I tried to put a little smoky slate on there and changed my mind because I didn't like the look of it. This is also using, and I hope you guys can see this, the subtle embossing folder, and I put a little polish on there, and it gives it kind of that top grain leather look. And I was thinking, okay, so like with some of our holiday stuff that's coming up, and I can't remember off the top of my head if there's any in the current catalog, but like if you have to cut out mittens or, you know, some other image like that and give them a leather look, thought that'd be kind of cool. Okay, so my last one that I experimented with, and it's probably my favorite, is I took my paper, ran it through the subtle folder first to give it that kind of leather-like texture, and then ran it through the quilted embossing folder, or the tufted, quilted is a different one, tufted embossing folder. And in person it looks really, really cool. It's pretty darn realistic looking. Oh my gosh, do we have couch dies? I think we do. That would be really cool. Anyway, I did not make anything with these projects. I just made samples. So how do you do this? You need a big shot. You need some certain embossing folders. They're not all going to work. Some of them are just not going to look realistic enough. That's, you know, just, I pulled together some that I think fit this technique, and I have hopefully that shows it better, because the embossing folder itself, this is the new subtle one. It kind of shows up better in the picture, but it gives it like a weave look or texture. A lot of ways to describe that one. I thought that's a really solid one to use for the faux leather. The tufted one, of course, because Sandy wants her tufted leather couch in white. I'd take black if I couldn't get white, but I want white. I want bright white. I don't know. It's just me. This one is, I have to look at my sheet. I can't remember what the name of this one is. Layered Leaves. And that's the one that gives the kind of thicker and less thick leaves, so it really does give it dimension. The basket weave, awesome. That's one of those dynamic folders. The tin tile one that's coming out, oops, there, it's upside down. Coming out September 5th in the holiday catalog. Other really good one, leather looking. I didn't try this one, but I don't know, it might work. The stripe, I didn't do this one either. Our quilted one would also give it a very stitched leather look. It'd be beautiful, but I didn't play with that one. This is a pack of 2. That's the petal pear, and the other one has some like viney leaves. I didn't think it worked as well, but this is the one that I used on my cherry cobbler piece, and that really does remind me of like something you'd see on a boot or a belt or a purse, or you know, something like that. So that one I thought worked really well. The general petals, Petal Burst, that's what this one's called. Okay, so that one kind of, my husband kind of helped advise me on ones. And then the trellis, also a very leather looking pattern that you might see on typical leather on various things. So those are the folders, and they're on the list that I recommend. So how do you do this? So let's put my little cheat sheet away. So you need your Big Shot, you need your folders, you need some cardstock, you need some of the inks. And again, I have them on the cheat sheet. I have them recommended. I'm going to pull this away, and you guys can see my stained table. I cannot get this out anymore. I've stained it too many times. Late night stamping, dropping ink pads. I did not pick a folder. So I have my Big Shot. I have my Big Shot platform. This is one you don't need the magnetic platform. You just need the platform that comes with your Big Shot. I need to pick a folder to show you. Just to show you how. Oh, phooey. This one, because I love this one. We'll use the new tin tile one, dynamic one. And the one thing that is new on all our embossing folders going forward, they will have a line, which will help you line up your cardstock straight. Isn't that beautiful? That is beautiful. And that also tells you that's the top of the folder. So, yep, we're good. And this one, with the dynamic ones, you only need one bun. I always have said bun, burger, cheese, or whatever is your paper, and bun. And that's how you make your sandwich. Well, you only need 1/2 the bun for these. That's just an analogy I've been using since Stampin' Up! Partnered with Sizzix for the Big Shot. So you want to roll it through. And I will put this aside because it takes up a lot of real estate on my table. And I will bring my paper back. Pop this out of the folder. Oh, I had 2 sheets. Oh well. That's probably why it went through. So that's the tin tile, and I'm using soft suede, and I'm going to open up my soft suede ink pad. Yes, it's the old style. And that's the side I was using. So you want to dip like the end of your sponge. I recommend these sponge. It's on my sheet. You'll need a sponge too. And I do recommend our sponges. The sponges are $3.54 3-pack, and they're round, and they come about this big. Cut them into thirds or quarters or something like that. Cut them down. You don't need the whole thing. I recommend a clothespin to hold onto your sponges so your fingers don't get as inky. Mine still got inky when I was playing with this, but use the rounded part of your sponge, and you want to make circular motions. You can use the side too, but you want to make circular motions. Otherwise, you're going to end up with funny streaks. So, make circular motions, and there's something else, and I'll show you that in a minute. And here's the other thing. You don't want it to be perfect looking ink, because if you've ever looked at something that's been dyed, it is not perfect unless you are looking like at a solid, like for example, like the solid black. But you know, some of these, I don't know what they call the term in leather when they do the kind of impressed, I think it's leather stamping. Rory, is it leather stamping? Yeah, leather stamping. You know, the dye that gets left is not perfect ever, and you don't want it perfect. It's the imperfection that makes it cool. So rub, 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 and that's what it looks like. Here's the other thing, and I can go back without picking up any more ink, and I did this earlier. Just kind of kept going over it. You aren't going to use a whole lot of ink. You want to be pretty light on that touching. And hopefully you guys can see that. But what starts to happen, you start to get a polish to your card between the ink and your sponge kind of providing like a really super soft buffer. You start to get that shine, like that waxy finish that's on leather. That's what we're doing, full leather. Maybe Sandy should go to bed after this is over. But I hope you can see that you kind of start to get that shine, as opposed to if you look. Oh, and that was the other tip I forgot, because I forgot to put it in my instructions. That's okay. I'll show you now. So when you pull your, well, you can see it really here. When you pull your cardstock out of, and I'll add it to the instructions when I upload them. When you pull your cardstock out of the Big Shot, it's kind of stiff. And this is what I did on all my samples. I went through and to, you know, because leather's a little more pliable. It's not super pliable like nylon or cotton or whatever, but you want to make it more pliable looking so it isn't so stiff when you lay it down. Yes, I know you're laying it flat, but still, it will make a difference. I actually, on some of them, I just gently rolled them up. So you're breaking up the fibers just a little bit. Not a whole lot, but you do want to, see, I'm getting inky without, you know, and I did a lot of this too, just kind of waving my cardstock to gently break up those fibers. Again, it really does add a little pliable look, so it is a little more realistic. So you want to gently break up those fibers. Obviously you can do it after you ink it up, but I recommend to do it before so you don't get inky fingers. But yeah, so what happens was when you, and here I will show you on, here's plain uninked cardstock, and what was happening, you just keep going over it. You have to be a little more aggressive with this, and it buffs. It's like it softens up all those loose fibers in the cardstock, and that's how you get kind of that waxy finish. That was an accidental discovery today, by the way. So I'm kind of happy with that. So yeah, it gives it kind of that waxy, more finished, like that wax paste that's so popular in using with chalk paints and stuff. And then for the Tufted, to get the little gold rivets, I used our metallic pearls that come in gold, and they come in silver. I chose gold for the black. I'm sure there's something you could do to make them look even more rivety. I was just playing around with a simple idea, and so we have the silver also. And I have those listed on the supplies, and those are metallic pearls, 2 sheets, $7 for the 2 colors, and you get an awful lot. It's like 121 per color or something. It was a lot. Our little pearls for the kind of tufted look, various inks. So that was what I came up with. I'm sure someone else has come up with something else, but these are the folders that I recommend. And again, I have a sheet with The color combinations like soft suede, you can use soft suede or early espresso. Anything else is going to look kind of weird unless you're going for something really out there like the lemon lime twist couch, which I'm kind of grooving on, etc. I will add on here about the gently breaking up the fibers too, but yeah, it really, this is the one I did. You can see how it lays just a little more like fabric-like, just that little bit of breaking up the fibers. And this one, you know, even if you were to glue it down, it just lays a little differently. So I recommend just a little bit there. And okay, I'm thinking that's it. So you need your Big Shot, you need some folders of choice, you need some cardstock, you need some ink, definitely need some sponges, and maybe some other accoutrements. And just kind of going back over, showing you some of these. That just is, it's just really kind of cool, and I hope it's showing up on camera. It just really, in person, it really does make it look like that basket weave just pops right off the cardstock. Blah blah blah. Lots of stuff. Lots of samples Sandy made. There's front and back on a lot of these. That one was the hot mess, but maybe with a little work I could make it work. I like the tone on tone Cajun Craze on Cajun Craze on that one. And again, this one was espresso with suede ink as opposed to espresso with espresso ink. Different look. Suede stuff. Black. So that's all I have for techniques today. And again, I didn't make any samples with them. I know there are some fantastic stamp sets in the catalog that the faux leather would look really, really great with. Just not something that I did for today's thing, because that'd be kind of like a whole nother episode. I wanted to show you also this. I had a stamp share meeting on Saturday, and this is using one of, you can kind of see, this was one of my card exchanges. To get this black, I took our white craft ink and just gently rubbed it across, and then I sprinkled it with Wink of Stella. I flicked it actually to kind of give it that night sky. And this is a stamp set that comes with the card kit that's coming out in the new catalog. And those are watercolor washed. So that was one of my samples. And the other one, Buffalo, Wild Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Plaid stamp set. I was so excited to play this, and I do have some basic tips. Make sure that ink pad is really, really juicy. And with those solid images, I made mine too juicy, had to suck some ink off, and then it wasn't juicy enough. So the black was a little trickier to work with, and I am going to do something on a live coming up on that in a week or two. The black was a little trickier to work with. I think some of the other colors will be less, just because the black not being solid just really stands out. So that was an interesting learning thing. Well, I have you here. Just some quick things. Color Your Season Special, where you get these products. Go until August 31st. This is exclusive. Once this is gone, August 31st, it is gone. You can also pre-order or order more watercolor pencils. I don't know if these are going to be continuing. I ordered some. I don't care if this is just a one-time thing, but I went ahead and got them. This beautiful set. I am seeing lots of samples on Pinterest. I personally did not get it, but it is really beautiful. You've got flowers. It's called Blended Season for a reason. You've got fall images. You've got Christmassy images. The bell could be used for Christmas wedding, all kinds of things. You got the wheat, the leaves, and it's got a variety of sayings. That's a really good cool thing, and it's got these awesome framelits, which I don't know if you can see very well, which layer and are a fantastic shape. And then the leaves that cut out, or the words, cut out some of these shapes. Bonus days are here. For every $50 that you get right now, you get a coupon in the mail right back to you for $5 to spend in September. So if you place a $300 order in August, you will get 6 $5 coupons or $30 worth of coupons to use in September. You will hang on to those emails, because those coupon codes, once they're gone, if you lose that, that's it. You lost that money. So that is a great promotion. I've already got, I won't say how many dollars worth saved up. Also, pumpkin, paper pumpkin. Oh my goodness, I'm all about the spooks. So if you sign up for Paper Pumpkin, or if you are a current subscriber, don't unsubscribe for September. We are having this spooky box. So it's all about Halloween. So make sure you subscribe by September 10th. Message me if you need details on that. I'm almost to the end. Dashing Along promotion. This goes in September. I, as a demonstrator, was able to order the paper ahead of time, because that's one of the perks of being a demonstrator, without having to earn it. In September, when you have a party or a single order for $250 or more, you get the free pack of paper. The paper really is very pretty. So that's something that's coming up in September. So it's either you place your order in August if you have a big chunky order and get those coupons. Well, then you could take the coupons that all you earn and place that in September and get your free paper. So it's just a win-win-win-win-win all the way down the line. I think I'm going to sign off now and just leave you with this lovely soft suede, faux leather technique. And before I upload the instructions, I will add on there to gently break up the cardstock, because again, obviously I forgot that, even though I did it, I don't know what, 12, 13 times today. And as soon as I'm on live, I forget, because it wasn't written down. And I hope that has inspired you to go out and try this and pair it with some of our great stamp sets. And it really is fun to do. And polishing that cardstock was really kind of cool. So thank you all for joining me. I will respond to comments after I hang up here. And we will see you next week. I'm moving my son in at college, so I'm not sure what I'm doing with lives. I'm kind of hoping that my pumpkin kit comes and maybe I can talk about that on one of them, but I really don't know if I'll be live next week at all, because we will be in the middle of the move. So stay tuned to my channel to find out what happens with that. See ya all, if not next week, the week after. Bye.